Hello YouTube, Dave here again. Today I'm going to be taking a look at the Pathfinder 2nd Edition Focus spell cards. So this is another in the Pathfinder 2e spell cards product line that I've picked up. I also have the Primal spell cards and the Occult spell cards, and I should be picking up the Divine deck within the next couple of days, hopefully. I don't necessarily know if I plan on doing opening videos for all of those products or not. It depends on what your guys' feedback is. Or we might be going away for a week or so I might do those just to have some videos that are out while I'm away from home. We'll sort of see how that goes. But the focus spell cards are ones that I wanted to do a video on because focus spells apply to multiple different classes. These aren't just specific to a single class like the Arcane deck was, or even like the Occult or other decks. So this is something that, and with focus spells in particular, they can be, they're sort of, I think, in a different section in the book, so they can be sort of confusing to try to navigate to. So this is something that will definitely help out with that. The US retail price for this was $24.99. I paid $34.99, so in Canada it was an extra $10, but on the box here it does show the different classes that will have the focus spells in here for, and it does say that this includes so let's just read the blurb here on the back. It says, get the most out of your inner magical power with Pathfinder spell cards. This must-have accessory for focus spellcasters contains more than 150 spell reference cards covering every focus spell in the Pathfinder core rulebook and giving players immediate access to key game details at a glance. So this should be all of them. Now, not every class in Pathfinder 2e has access to focus spells, but like I said, we do see the classes here on the packaging that we are going to have cards for. So we have the Wizard, the Druid, the Cleric. I think the Cleric has the majority of them. But then we also have the Monk, the Champion, the Monk and Sorceress. And then we have the Bard and the Champion there. So again, just cool stuff. Similar to the Arcane deck, if you haven't seen my video on that, I will say that the cards will sort of have a similar format, in that they will have, like, some of them, if there's more text or if there's a big wall of text for some of these focus spells, they will utilize the other side of the card. But we're going to take a look here at what we got. Again, similar to the Arcane deck, there is some extra space in this in the event that future products have other focus spells and they release a spell card deck that is specific to that particular product. This is a way that you can put these all sort of together. So there's room for expansion there, which again I think is absolutely great. So we're just going to take these out. I'm not going to go through, like I said, every single one because there's a lot of cards in here and that would make for a very long video. But we will go through and just show some of the stuff that's included. So one of the cards that you're going to get in all these products is going to be your open gaming license for the D20 system. So that's something that is required to be included in products that utilize it. So we've got that there. Actually, let's just adjust the lighting just a little bit. There we go. Might make it a little bit easier to see. I am using a new recording setup, so it's not as easy for me to see what's going on the camera versus what the old one was, but I still think that this is definitely a step up. So here we have the focus cards themselves. We also have an instructional card, which is included here. And the instructional card just says this deck includes all focus spells for the classes presented in the Pathfinder core rulebook. The full text for each focus spell is provided whenever possible, though some longer or more complex spells have been abbreviated and will include a page reference. That was the same way that we had with the Arcane deck, although for at least the lower level spells, none of them had to actually go quite that far. But this is also helpful. So it says the rules for focus spells begin on page 300 of the core rulebook, and the rules for casting spells begin on page 302. So again, it can just sort of help you navigate the book a little bit, which is great. So like I said, I'm not going to go through every single one here, but I just want to show you how the cards are designed. So we have the artwork there that is specific to the class that the card is used for, because focus spells are class specific and not just a source of magic specific, like Arcane, Primal, Occult, or Divine. So these ones are actually class dependent. So on the ones that don't have to have text on both sides of the cards, you will see that the artwork will include the iconic character from the core rulebook based off of that class. So we've got the wizard here. So we got the wizard. Oops. And then we have the, so we got the wizard there. And then we have the sorceress, or sorcerer. And like I said, we'll go over a bunch of these as well. Just trying to organize them. Then we have the monk. So we got the monk, the druid, and there's not a ton of druid ones. And then we have this, so the cleric has by far the most, but clerics also have, like, this is all the cleric ones. But clerics also have ones that are dependent on their domain and the aspects of the domain that they use. And then we also have the champion and the bard. So the champion also doesn't have very many. And then we have the bard there. So I'm just going to take a look more closely at just a couple of these, including one that is double-sided, just so you can sort of see how they handle that. So I think for this purpose, the easiest thing to do is just to pick up. Actually, let's take a look at the druid one because it's a relatively small pile and there's a double-sided one there. So we'll just have a look at these two so you sort of see how these cards are laid out. Okay, so we'll go with the double-sided one first. Actually, we'll do the single-sided one first. So here we have, this is just the wild shape one. Again, they're all the different focus spells that are in there, so I'm not going to focus too much on the specifics, but we have the name of it. It says focus on the very top here, and then we have the level that it is, the keywords that go with it, so uncommon, druid, so it'll always have the class associated with it in the keywords section, which is an easy way to sort them as well if they get mixed up a bit, and then polymorph and transmutation, the casting time, and the duration. So it says, and it just gives you a description here. So for this one, it says you infuse yourself with primal essence and transform yourself into another form. You can polymorph into any form listed in pest form, which lasts for 10 minutes. All other wild shape forms last for 1 minute. You can add more forms to your wild shape list with druid feats, and your feat might grant you some or all of the forms from a given polymorph spell. So I'm reading this at an awkward, far away angle, so I do apologize if I kind of mumble, or not mumble, but muddle my way through this a bit. When you transform into a form granted by a spell, you gain the effects of the form you chose from a version of the spell heightened into the wild shape's level. Wild shape allows you to use your own shape-shifting training more easily than most polymorph spells. When you choose to use your own attack modifier while polymorphed instead of the form's default attack modifier, you gain a +2 bonus to your attack rolls. So I don't actually know a ton about the druid in Pathfinder. I've never made one. But yeah, so it gives you that. And then heightened, just says heightened as second level. You can also wild shape into the forms listed on the animal form. So we have that there. And then we'll just go through and show some of the other ones that we have there. So animal stuff, Impaling Briars, Primal Summons, Stormlord, Stormwind Flight, and Tempest Surge. So we got that stuff there. But then we have also Wild Morph. And this is a double-sided card. So this is one of the reasons that I wanted to take a look at this one here. So again, double-sided means that there's no artwork on the back there. But it does say continued from the front, so if you're trying to sort your cards, you know that you would have to flip this one over. And the keyword druid is included there, so you know what class it is from. So it gives you all the same information there. And like I said, it just fills out the description as best as possible. Now this one again doesn't require the use of showing like what page it's on. So again, that's another, like I said, I mentioned this before, but it's one of the things that I do like about these cards is that it does utilize both sides to give you as much as they possibly can before forcing you to have to look into the core rulebook. So like I said, I don't know if there's any in here that actually will require you to flip to a particular page. I'm just going to sort of flip through these really quickly and just see if there's one that is so complex that not even the two sides of the card can fully explain everything. And so far, going through all of the cleric ones, there's only actually a handful of double-sided cards, and none of them have an actual page reference. And then none of the champion cards are double-sided. None of the bard cards are double-sided, so we don't have to worry about those there. And then with the druid, I think that was the only double-sided druid card there. So we'll just sort of mix that back in. I'll sort those out alphabetically later. And then the monk ones, I think they're all single-sided as well. The sorceress, we'll just go through all of hers. And they are all single-sided as well. So, like I said, the thing that they will provide the page references necessary. I think it's just a disclaimer to let you know that the cards aren't all going to be just single-sided. But yeah, that's in this entire deck, not a single one of these cards actually will force you to have to open up the core rulebook in order to find them. So I think that's, again, a very key aspect of these, is that they are meant to make this as easy as possible on you, and the less time that you spend flipping through trying to find something in a book is more time that you can spend focusing on what's going on at the table. And again, they just did an absolutely excellent job with these. So focus spells in particular, I think this is one of the most useful decks to get, because it's something that it's all of them from the core book. So, and focus spells do function slightly differently than your normal spells. So you have to spend like a focus point in order to use them. Multiple classes have access to them. So this is something that I think will get a huge amount of use at your tables, just because of like sort of how niche the focus spells are. So I think that this is an absolutely excellent pickup, and it's one of the ones that I recommend the most. I think that these arcane or these spell card decks are all awesome. Like I'm getting the entire set. I have all of them except for one at this point in time, and I think that they are all great purchases, and I think that they are all useful pickups. But this is the one that I think will have the widest possible use because of the number of classes that have access to these types of spells. So definitely recommend checking it out. And at $24.99 US, which the majority of people watching this will be paying that price. It's well worth it. I paid $35 for it, and it was totally worth that as well, in my opinion. So I highly recommend these. And this is just another example of Paizo's accessories really delivering strong. The box, like I said, sturdy construction. Much more, with these, I'm not as worried about having these in my backpack with the thickness of the cardstock used for the box than I might be other products of similar nature. So yeah, like I said, I can't say enough good things about these, and it's late at night and I'm starting to really stumble on my wording. So I think I'm just going to cut it off here before I get way too incoherently rambly. But yeah, have a look at these. I think that if you are into 2nd edition Pathfinder, this is one of the better accessory pickups that you can make for yourself. Anyway, let me know in the comments below, what are your thoughts on the Focus Spell Card deck? If you've picked this up yourself, how have they improved or how have they impacted your games? I always love to know that sort of feedback from people that get more chances to use it than I do. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next time. Take care.